and cold. It falls in sheets, drowning the world in a muted haze. Amara's feet pound the slick pavement, each step echoing in the silence, each breath shallow, ragged. Her heart is in her throat, blood rushing in her ears, drowning out the sound of the storm. She doesn't dare look back, not once. She knows they're behind her, her former pack. They are always behind her now, chasing her, hunting her, reminding her of the mistake she made. She's not running from them because they want her back. No, not that. They're chasing her because her exile was never meant to be temporary. The pack's punishment had been cruel and absolute, and it was the only sentence they'd given her. Run or die. And she's been running ever since. Her feet slip as she barrels through the wet streets, the world spinning and tilting as she tries to keep her footing. The rain makes it harder to breathe, every drop feeling like a slap against her skin. Her body feels heavy, too heavy for her to carry on, yet her legs keep moving. She doesn't have a choice. She can't stop. Her pulse races in her veins. Her stomach churns. Every instinct screams at her to flee, but there's no escape. The dark corners of the city have swallowed her whole, and no matter how far she runs, it's never far enough. She's trapped. Then, out of nowhere, the screech of tires, the blinding flash of headlights. It comes too fast, too loud. She barely has time to register it before the car slams into her side, with a force that knocks the air from her lungs. The world spins as she crashes to the ground, her body slamming into the wet asphalt. Her head cracks against the pavement, a dizzying pain shooting through her skull. She feels the cold rain mixing with the warmth of her blood, seeping through her torn clothes, pooling around her like a dark sea. The sounds of the night are muffled, fading in and out as her vision flickers. She tries to move, tries to get up, but her limbs are heavy, uncooperative. She's too weak to fight back now. Too alone. She's been running for so long, and the exhaustion, oh, the exhaustion has taken its toll. Her muscles ache, her chest heaves, but it's not enough to make her stand. The world around her starts to blur, the edges of her vision fading, the cold biting into her skin, and then a shift in the air. It's subtle at first, just a change in the wind, a tension, a pressure that makes her shiver despite the wetness of the rain. A shadow, a presence, a man, no, not just any man, bends down beside her. His figure is massive, his body almost intimidating in its sheer strength. Amara's eyes, barely open, take in the silhouette of him. She can barely make out the details, but there's something undeniable in the way he holds himself, in the power that rolls off him in waves. His scent, deep and primal, catches her breath. He's different, different than anything she's ever known. The Alpha King. His gaze pierces through her, his eyes burning with an intensity that cuts through the fog of her confusion. She's too weak to push him away, too dizzy to fight the pull that his presence creates within her. He doesn't speak at first, doesn't move. He just watches her with those eyes that seem to know more than they should, eyes that see far more than she's willing to let them. The storm rages around them, but in this one moment, time stills. She wants to ask him why he's here, why he's come for her, but the words don't come. She can barely form the thoughts. She just stares up at him, heart pounding, mind spinning. There's a moment, a long, drawn-out moment, where nothing else exists but the two of them. And in that silence, she can feel it. A tension so thick, it feels like the air could snap at any second. Why is he here? His hands are steady as they hover above her, as if debating whether or not to touch her. And the silence between them? It's loaded, heavy. You're not dead yet. His voice, deep and commanding, cuts through the fog of her thoughts. And for some reason, The simple words send a ripple of something through her chest, a mix of fear, curiosity, and something else. Something she doesn't understand. But before she can question it, before she can make sense of what's happening, her vision wavers again. Everything starts to dim, the edges of her world crumbling. Her eyes flutter closed, the cold grip of unconsciousness tugging at her. But not before she hears him again, the Alpha King's voice, low and steady. I won't let you die. And just like that, the last shred of her hope flickers. She's been running for so long, fighting so hard to survive. But now, in this moment, she wonders if, just for once, she might be able to stop running. But before that question can even fully form, the world around her slips away and darkness claims her. Are you feeling the tension already? Are you as caught up in Amara's story as I am? If so, you know what to do. Subscribe to Kismet Publishing Collection for more intense, gripping stories like this one. You won't want to miss what happens next. Ronan's hands are firm, but there's a gentleness in the way he lifts her, cradling Amara against his chest, as though she's the most fragile thing in the world. His presence is overwhelming, not just in strength but in the air around him, thick with authority. It radiates from him, powerful and undeniable. He doesn't just command the space, he owns it, as though the entire world were bending to his will. Amara can feel the raw power in his grip, in the way his body moves so fluidly beneath her, and something inside her stirs, a sensation she can't name, but one that claws at her. She's been alone for so long, used to fighting for every breath, every scrap of survival. And now she's in the arms of someone who could end her life with a single word, someone who is so far beyond anything she's ever known. Her body aches with the collision, and the pain is real. But the greater pain, the one that cuts deeper, is the vulnerability of it all. Being in his arms, being this close, it's not just physical pain she's feeling, it's something else. Something she doesn't want to feel. She doesn't trust him, not yet. And a part of her knows she shouldn't. He's a stranger, an intimidating, powerful stranger, and she's no fool. She's been betrayed before, had her trust shattered so many times. It's almost instinct now to pull away from anyone who might try to get too close. But there's something about him that makes her hesitate. A magnetism, a pull so undeniable that, despite her fear, she doesn't look away. Not once. His eyes are intense, burning with an unreadable emotion. They move over her, but not in the way a stranger looks at someone they've just found. No, Ronan's gaze is different. It's as though he sees through her, as though he knows her in ways she hasn't even begun to understand herself. And that knowledge, it makes her heart race, makes her skin prickle with the unmistakable sense that he's been watching her, tracking her every move for far longer than she's aware. I've been looking for you. His voice is low, rich with authority, each word drawing her in like the pull of gravity. You're not as lost as you think. The words don't make sense at first. She tries to understand, but her thoughts are a blur. She's too weak, too shaken by the pain and the rush of confusion to even process what he's saying. But one thing is clear. He knows something about her, something she hasn't shared with anyone. How could he? How could he possibly know? The instinct to pull away is overwhelming, but it's as though her body refuses to obey. Her heart pounds erratically in her chest, and a strange warmth pulses through her as his words sink in. She can feel him, feel the weight of his presence surrounding her, filling the space between them, and in that space, she's suddenly unsure of herself. She fears him. She should fear him. Every instinct screams at her to resist, to push him away and fight, But the soft pressure of his arms around her, his chest rising and falling with each breath, has a calming effect on her. It's almost as if he's grounding her, pulling her out of the chaos, out of her fear, and into something that feels safer. Something she doesn't know how to name. But she's not foolish. She's been here before, too many times to count. Trust has been a lie. It's been a weapon, a tool used against her. And yet, despite the wariness clawing at her insides, despite the wall she's built so carefully around her heart, she finds herself wanting to trust him. Her gaze locks with his, and for a fleeting second, the world seems to disappear. The rain, the pain, the fear, all of it fades into the background. All that's left is Ronan, his steady eyes, his dark, commanding presence. The weight of everything he's carrying, and the weight of everything she's been carrying. And she wonders, just for a second, if he could be the one to carry it all for her. But then the moment shatters, the silence between them stretching too long, and she pulls herself away from him, wincing as her body protests. She doesn't belong in his arms. She doesn't belong anywhere that feels safe. "I don't know who you are," Amara says, her voice rough, uncertain. She lifts her chin, trying to maintain some semblance of strength, despite the weakness in her limbs. "I don't know what you want from me, but I can't trust you." Ronan doesn't flinch, doesn't take offense. He simply watches her with those dark eyes, his expression unreadable. The tension between them is palpable, thick with the unspoken words they're both holding back. She's not sure if it's the rain or the raw intensity of the moment, but she feels like she's drowning under the weight of everything he's not saying. "I'm not asking you to trust me," Ronan replies, his voice soft, but there's a steel to it that sends a chill down her spine. "I'm asking you to trust yourself. You've been running for so long, Amara. You've been running from everything you are, but you don't have to anymore. I'm here to help you face it." His words are like a hand reaching out, trying to pull her from the depths, but she's not sure she can go there. Not yet. Not when everything inside her is telling her that trusting him would be the biggest mistake she's ever made. But still, there's something in his gaze, something that won't let her look away, something that makes her want to believe him. "You don't understand," Amara whispers, a tremor in her voice that betrays her fear. She's scared, yes, but there's something else beneath it. Something deeper. Something darker that makes her question everything she thought she knew about herself. "I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know what I'm supposed to be. All I know is that I don't want to be what they made me." Ronan's gaze softens for a fraction of a second. Just long enough for Amara to see the flicker of something, a sympathy, a recognition that she can't quite place. "You're not what they made you," he says quietly, his voice steady. "You're not broken. You're more powerful than you realize, Amara. And I've been waiting for you." His words linger in the air like a promise, like a revelation. And for the first time in a long time, Amara feels something inside her stir. A flicker of hope, a light in the darkness. She's been running for so long, running from herself, from the pain of what's been done to her. But now, standing here with Ronan in the middle of the rain, she wonders if she could stop running. She doesn't know how to trust him. She doesn't know if she can, but she knows one thing for sure. She's not running anymore. Not from him. Not from the fire inside her. Do you think Amara can trust him? Will she finally find the strength to face her fears? Drop a comment and let us know what you think. The cold of the night seeps deeper into her bones, but it's not the chill of the storm that makes Amara shiver. It's the storm inside her. The storm of memories, of past wounds too deep to heal. She closes her eyes, trying to shut it all out, but they come rushing back, uninvited, relentless. The voices, The cold faces, the ones who turned their backs on her, the ones who made her believe she was never meant to belong anywhere. A faint, hollow laugh escapes her lips. Why would Ronan want me? Her own thoughts are sharp, jagged, cutting through her chest like broken glass. I'm nothing but a curse to everyone I've known. She runs her fingers over the faint scars on her wrist, the remnants of a life she barely remembers. A life that's been nothing but a constant fight for survival. In the silence, her mind drifts back to the beginning. It feels like a lifetime ago, but she can still see it so clearly. How the wind had howled through the trees, how the night had swallowed her whole, how she had shifted. The first time she'd ever felt the fire inside her, the silver flame. It had surged through her veins hotter than anything she had ever felt, powerful, wild, untamable. It burned with a fury she couldn't control. It was supposed to be a gift, a part of who she was. But to them, to her pack, it had been a curse. Her pack had been everything to her once. Her family, her home. They'd raised her, trained her, taught her to be strong. But the moment the silver flame first erupted within her, they'd recoiled. They'd seen it as a threat, a danger to their carefully constructed world. The flame wasn't a gift. It was destruction. It was chaos. The flames had roared in her chest that night, uncontrollable, consuming everything around her. But they weren't ready. They couldn't handle it. And in their eyes, she became the very thing they feared. You're dangerous, Amara. Her mother's voice had been cold, so cold. You've got to leave. You'll only bring ruin to us all. She had begged, she had pleaded with them, but they didn't listen. Their decision was final. Her pack had cast her out, exiled her to the wilderness, to fend for herself. And the worst part? The worst part was that she had believed them, that she had believed she deserved it. She still remembers the isolation, the endless nights spent shivering in the forest, the howls of wolves in the distance that were never meant for her. She had been alone, so very alone. The cold had never been as sharp as that feeling of abandonment, of being cast aside by the people who were supposed to love her, protect her. The flame inside her had been a blessing, a mark of something more, but to them it had been a disease. It was something to fear, something to hide. And so, she had hidden it. She had buried it deep, forced herself to forget what she was capable of, forced herself to pretend she was normal. But no matter how hard she tried, the flame always simmered beneath the surface, waiting for the moment to break free again. But in the years that followed, Amara learned to survive. She learned how to hide, how to make herself small, to blend in. She learned how to build walls around her heart, around her power, around everything that might give her away. And she had done it all alone. And now here she was, in Ronan's arms, in the heart of this unknown wilderness, and the questions kept swirling in her mind. Why does he want me? Her eyes flicked to him again, that shadow of a man who claims to be her savior, the Alpha King. He must see her for what she is. He must feel the fire inside her, the danger, the curse. Yet, despite it all, he stands there, unwavering. He doesn't fear her. His hands are steady, his eyes unwavering, and when he looks at her, there's nothing but understanding. And that terrifies her. Because if she's not a curse, then what is she? Who is she? If not the monster they made her believe she was? I've been looking for you, Amara. Ronan's voice cuts through her thoughts, and the weight of it presses down on her chest. You're not cursed. You're a force of nature. I can help you control it. The words sink in like a stone dropped into still water. A part of her wants to scream, to run from him, from what he's offering. She's been alone for so long, been forced to fight this fire on her own. She doesn't know what it means to accept help. And she's afraid. Afraid of what he sees in her. Afraid of what it means to let him in. afraid that once he knows the truth, the true depth of what she's capable of, he'll leave, just like they all did. But another part of her, one she can barely admit to herself, is tempted. Tempted by the softness in his voice, by the steadiness of his hands holding her, tempted by the possibility that she doesn't have to be alone anymore, but she can't let that hope take root. She can't risk it. She's seen what hope does to people. It makes them vulnerable, and vulnerability only leads to more pain. Her gaze drops to the ground, her breath shaky as she speaks. You don't know what it's like, what I've been through, what I've done. No one has ever understood. They all saw me as a danger. Her voice cracks, the raw pain of her past slipping out before she can stop it. I was the danger, she adds, her throat tight. They were right to exile me. I was too much. Ronan doesn't move, doesn't speak at first. He just watches her with those steady, piercing eyes. She can feel him studying her, and it makes her skin burn. But then, softly, he speaks again. They didn't understand you, he says, his voice low, like he's unraveling a truth he's known for far longer than she's been alive. They were afraid of you, Amara. But that fear doesn't define you. You are not a weapon. You are not a curse. You're more than that. His words pierce through her, like a whisper against the deafening noise of her own doubts. She closes her eyes, trying to silence them. But the silence between them is different now. It's heavy with something she's not ready to acknowledge. She feels his presence again, like a weight on her chest, but this time, it's not suffocating. It's steady, grounding, and for a moment, just a moment, she lets herself feel it. Maybe he's right, but the truth is harder to face than the lies she's been holding on to for so long. And no matter how much she wants to believe Ronan, no matter how much her heart aches for something more, the fear is always there, lingering in the shadows. What if she can't control it? What if the flame burns her alive? Her gaze meets his again, and she's surprised to find that he's not backing away. He's still there, still watching her with those unflinching eyes. He sees me, she thinks. The thought almost too much to bear. He sees me, all of me. And maybe that's what terrifies her the most. Because if he sees her, really sees her, then she can't hide anymore. And for someone who's spent her whole life hiding, the idea of being truly seen is both the most beautiful and the most terrifying thing she's ever known. Amara's past is haunting her, but could Ronan be the key to unlocking her true power? Will she face her fears or push him away? Drop a comment below to share your thoughts. The forest grows quieter as they walk deeper into the heart of the wilderness, the rain now a distant echo, swallowed by the dense canopy overhead. The trees stretch high above them, twisted and ancient, their roots tangled like veins in the earth, pulsing with an energy that feels alive. The air thickens with an unseen power, a presence that seems to seep from the very soil beneath her feet. Amara shivers involuntarily, the hairs on the back of her neck standing on end. It's not just the cold or the mystery of the place. It's something else. Something older. Something that calls to her, draws her in with a pull she can't explain. Ronan doesn't speak as they walk, but his presence is enough. He leads her through the forest like a guide, his pace steady, unhurried. And as they move deeper into the woods, Amara begins to feel the weight of the silence around them. It's not the kind of silence that's comforting. No, this is the kind of silence that presses in on you, heavy and suffocating until every breath feels like a fragile thing, like something you might break if you don't handle it with care. Finally, they reach it. The clearing opens up like a forgotten world, and at the center, an ancient altar stands. The stones are weathered, their surfaces worn smooth with time, but they still pulse with an undeniable energy, as though the earth itself is alive here, as if the altar is somehow connected to the very heartbeat of the world. Strange symbols are etched into the surface of the stone, symbols that shimmer faintly in the fading light, glowing as though alive with a power that Amara can feel deep in her bones. She steps forward, drawn by the sight of it, her heart pounding in her chest. There's something about this place, something that feels inevitable. She doesn't understand it, but she feels it deep within her, like it's calling to her, asking her to come closer, to claim whatever it is that's meant for her here. Ronan stops beside her, his gaze sweeping over the altar, his expression unreadable. Then he turns to her, his voice low, almost reverent. "You are the child of the flame," he says, his words hanging in the air between them like a whispered secret, heavy with meaning. The one foretold. The words hit her like a physical blow. Her breath catches in her throat, her heart stuttering in her chest as the weight of them settles over her. She's heard of the prophecy before, but she never truly believed it. It was just something told to pups around campfires, a story passed down from generation to generation. The child of the flame, the one destined to change everything. It was a myth, a fairy tale. But hearing Ronan say it so matter-of-factly makes her question everything she thought she knew about herself. Her thoughts swirl in a dizzying rush, trying to catch up with the reality of what he's just told her. She doesn't know how to process it. The one foretold. She had never thought of herself as anything special. Just a girl, exiled and abandoned by the very people who were supposed to love her. But now everything feels different, as if the ground beneath her feet is shifting, changing, and she has no idea where it's taking her. As she stands there, a strange energy fills the air, and the symbols on the altar begin to glow brighter, as if reacting to her presence. The ground trembles beneath her just slightly, but enough to send a ripple of unease through her. And then, visions. They come quickly, like a wave crashing over her, overwhelming her senses. She sees flashes of fire, bright, blinding flames, swirling around her, consuming everything in their path. She sees herself, standing in the middle of it all, her hands raised as if she's controlling the flames, bending them to her will. But the vision shifts, and now she's standing at the edge of a cliff, looking down at a world torn apart by war. She sees the faces of those she's lost, her family, her pack, looking up at her, accusing her, blaming her for their downfall. She hears their voices, faint whispers in the distance, calling her a monster, telling her she's too dangerous. You were never meant to be part of this world. The words echo in her mind like a haunting melody, and she falters, shaking her head to clear the images from her mind. But they won't fade. They linger, just beyond her reach, tormenting her with their implications. Ronan's voice breaks through the haze, his tone firm but gentle, as if trying to anchor her to the present moment. "Amara, you feel it, don't you?" His eyes are fixed on her, unwavering as if he's seeing something she can't. "This power, it's inside you. It's part of you. It always has been." She shudders, the cold creeping back into her bones, but it's not just the chill of the air. It's the weight of what he's saying, the truth of it sinking in. She feels it now, more than ever. The power, the fire that's always been there, simmering beneath the surface, waiting to break free. But she's scared, terrified, in fact. She doesn't know how to control it. She doesn't know if she can. She pulls away slightly, her chest tight as doubt begins to settle over her. Can I be the one to save us all? The question leaves her lips before she can stop it, soft and uncertain, filled with a raw vulnerability that makes her feel exposed, too open. Ronan's expression softens, his gaze never leaving her as he steps closer, his presence filling the space between them. Only you can decide that, Amara. You have the power to change everything, to save us, or to destroy us. He pauses, and for a moment, the air seems to hold its breath. You have to choose. Embrace your power, or continue to run from it. Her heart beats in her throat, the weight of his words pressing down on her like a boulder. She wants to believe him, wants to believe that she can be more than the monster they all thought her to be. But fear has a hold on her, and it's hard to shake off. The flames inside her. What if they consume everything she's ever known? What if she can't control them? What if she's just like them? The people who exiled her? She doesn't know if she's strong enough for this. She doesn't know if she's strong enough to embrace the fire within her without losing herself to it. But something in Ronan's eyes holds her, a steady, unwavering belief that she's capable of more. Something in the way he looks at her makes her believe, just for a moment, that she might be able to do this. That maybe, just maybe, she can control the flame and not let it control her. The symbols on the stones glow brighter now, their light flickering like a heartbeat. The energy around them hums, vibrating through her very bones. It's not just the power of the flame anymore. It's something ancient, something old as the earth itself. And it's waiting for her to claim it. She just has to decide. Feeling the weight of destiny, will Amara embrace her power or continue running from it? What will she choose? Hit subscribe on Kismet Publishing Collection and join Amara's journey as she discovers what she's truly capable of. The quiet of the sacred clearing shatters like glass. One moment, the air around them is thick with unspoken tension, the weight of prophecy, of power, of choices made and to be made. And the next, everything is chaos. It starts as a whisper on the wind, then a shift in the air that prickles at the back of Amara's neck. A growl, low, deep, and dangerous. It cuts through the silence like a blade, and Amara's blood runs cold. Ronan's body stiffens beside her. His jaw clenches, his eyes narrowing as he turns, his focus snapping to the trees behind them. Amara follows his gaze, her heart racing. There, emerging from the shadows of the forest, is a figure. Tall, broad-shouldered, and unmistakably an alpha. Behind him, his pack moves in, an intimidating force of snarling, shifting figures, rival pack. The alpha's presence is commanding, his eyes filled with anger and challenge. The air thickens with hostility, and Amara can almost taste the tension. This isn't just a confrontation. This is war. Ronan, the rival alpha growls, his voice a rough, guttural sound. You've allowed this thing into your pack. You've allowed her to poison your mind. He steps forward, his pack following in lockstep, their eyes glowing with hostility. She's not one of us. She never was. And now you've brought a threat to our doorsteps. Ronan's stance doesn't waver. His shoulders set, and the deep rumble of his voice rings out, calm but firm. She's not a threat to us, he says, his gaze fixed on the rival alpha, unwavering. She's my mate, and I will not stand by while you try to destroy her. The words hit Amara like a shockwave. His mate, the Alpha King, Ronan, has just declared it, as if it's the most natural thing in the world. And it should feel right. Her heart should leap in her chest, but instead, there's a pit in her stomach. She isn't sure what she feels anymore. She hasn't had time to process everything. The prophecy, the power, the trust that Ronan has placed in her. And yet, here they are, facing a rival alpha, and it feels like the world is crashing in on them. She wasn't ready for this. She wasn't ready for any of this, but the rival alpha is relentless. He snarls, his teeth flashing white in the moonlight. You're a fool, Ronan. She'll destroy us all. You're blind to it. You've let her fool you. She's a danger, a ticking time bomb. If you don't rid yourself of her, your pack will pay the price. Amara feels a cold rush through her, and the ground beneath her feet shifts, as if the world itself is recoiling. She's not a weapon. She doesn't want to be. But the words cut deeper than she expected. The same words she's heard from the moment her flame first burst from her body. Danger, weapon, curse. And in that moment, it happens. The flame, the one that's always simmered beneath her skin, surges up. She can feel it. Hot, fierce, uncontrollable. Her fingers tremble, and the air around her begins to crackle with energy. The symbols on the altar pulse brighter, and her breath catches in her throat. The flame is alive within her, and in her fear, in her uncertainty, it bursts out. It's like nothing she's ever felt before. Unrestrained, wild, a surge of raw power that threatens to consume everything in its path. The ground shakes beneath her feet as the fire rises, spiraling around her hands, licking the air like a hungry beast. And for a split second, everything goes still. The pack watches in stunned silence as the flames dance around her, their heat crackling in the air. Even the rival alpha's eyes widen in shock. They can all feel it. The power, the danger. It's not just a shift, it's a storm. Amara stares at the flames, her chest heaving, her heart pounding. She can't control it. Not yet. She's too scared, too torn. Her fear fuels the fire, and it burns brighter, hotter, wilder. Amara, calm down. Ronan's voice cuts through the chaos, his hand reaching for her. She doesn't know why, but she pulls away. The flames respond, curling higher, more intense. The rival alpha laughs, a bitter mocking sound. See? I told you. She's a danger. A monster. Amara flinches as his words slice through the air. Her flame sputters for a second, then surges again, threatening to break free. She's terrified. Terrified of what she's capable of. Terrified of what she could destroy. Ronan steps closer, his eyes never leaving her. She's not a weapon, he says again, his voice full of certainty. She's my mate, and I'll protect her with everything I have. The words cut through her confusion, but they don't bring her peace. They don't erase the fear that grips her heart. Because Ronan might believe in her, but she's not sure she believes in herself. She's not sure she can control the fire inside her. Not sure she can be what he's asking her to be. The rival alpha's voice rises in anger, his patience thinning. You're blind, Ronan. She'll bring ruin to us all. You should have left her to die. I warned you. Ronan doesn't flinch. His eyes are dark, determined, filled with an unspoken promise. He takes another step toward Amara, and this time, she doesn't pull away. He reaches for her hand, his fingers brushing against her skin. I won't leave you, he says, his voice low, filled with raw emotion. You don't have to be afraid. I'm here. I will help you control this. But you have to trust me. His words burn through her like a lifeline. He's here. He's here. But she still feels the weight of the rival alpha's words pressing on her chest. She's not ready. She's not ready to be this, to carry this burden. The power, the prophecy, the choice. All of it feels too much, too heavy. Let her go, Ronan. The rival alpha sneers, his voice full of venom. She's your downfall. You'll see. We all will. The pack is split now. Some stand with Ronan, their loyalty clear in their eyes. Others glance at Amara warily, fear and doubt etched on their faces. And in the middle of it all, Amara stands, trembling, her flames flickering with every passing second, uncertain whether to burn everything to the ground or to hold back, to contain the chaos that's always lived inside her. Ronan turns to face the rival alpha, his expression hardening. She's not leaving, he says, his voice full of finality. She's my mate, and I will stand by her. The rival alpha growls in frustration. Then you'll be the one to destroy us, Ronan. He turns to his pack. Let's go. This fight isn't over. The rival pack retreats, disappearing back into the forest, leaving behind a bitter tension in the air, a warning that they will not let this go. Amara stands in the center of it all, the flames still flickering around her hands, but now there's a dull ache in her chest, a feeling she can't shake. Ronan steps closer to her, his gaze softening. Amara, I know you're scared, but you're not alone in this. I'm here. But Amara's heart is heavy, the weight of the world pressing down on her. The battle isn't over, not by a long shot, and no matter how much Ronan believes in her, she's still unsure. Can I trust him? Can she trust herself? Which side will you choose, Amara's or the Alpha's? Will she embrace the fire within her, or let fear control her? The crackling of the fire fills the silence between them, a soft, rhythmic sound that contrasts with the tension in the air. The flames dance in the dark, their warm glow flickering across Amara's face as she sits by Ronan's side, the weight of the world pressing down on her. The embers cast shadows that seem to play on her skin, flickering in and out like fragments of a dream she can't hold on to. It's the first time in a long time that she's allowed herself to just be, to stop running. But the weight of everything still presses on her chest, heavy and relentless. Ronan, his back against a large rock, watches her with an intensity that makes her heart race, his eyes never leaving her. His expression is softer now, a gentleness in his gaze that almost doesn't match the cold, commanding alpha she's seen before. Here, in the quiet, away from the chaos of the world, he's just a man. And for the first time, she's able to see him as something more than just the Alpha King. The fire crackles between them, sending sparks into the air. Amara feels the heat on her skin, but it's not just from the fire. It's the heat of something else, something deeper, something she's not ready to acknowledge. Her heart beats faster in her chest, the silence between them stretching, thick with unspoken words. You're not alone anymore, Ronan says, his voice low, almost a whisper. His gaze softens, his brow furrowing slightly as if he's searching for the right words to say. I'm here. I won't leave you. The words hang in the air between them, and for a moment Amara isn't sure how to respond. Her throat tightens. The familiar walls she's spent so many years building around herself starting to crack. She's always been alone. She's always had to fight for her survival. Trust has never come easy, not when it's been shattered so many times. She turns her head slightly, meeting his eyes. There's something in them, something that speaks of a depth she can't quite comprehend. It's the same intensity that's always been there, but now it's mixed with something else, something softer, more vulnerable. How do I know you won't betray me, like everyone else? Her voice trembles, and she hates that it does. But the question is there, pressing on her, demanding an answer. It's not just about Ronan anymore. It's about her own fear, her own inability to trust anyone. Her gaze drops to the ground, the firelight dancing across the dirt beneath her. She can't look at him. Not now, not when the rawness of her emotions is spilling out. She doesn't want to be weak. She doesn't want to need anyone. But the truth is, she's never been able to do this alone. And the idea of him, of trusting him, scares her more than anything else. Ronan doesn't look away. His eyes remain fixed on her, unwavering. He's silent for a long moment. And Amara can feel the weight of his presence pressing against her, his closeness pulling her in like a magnet. He leans in slightly, his breath warm against her skin, his voice quieter now, almost intimate. I see you, he says, his voice rough with emotion. All of you. It's not just the words, It's the way he says them, the way he sees her. It's like he's peeling back the layers she's worked so hard to hide, exposing the parts of her she's too afraid to face. And for the first time, she doesn't feel like a monster. She doesn't feel like the dangerous, unpredictable thing she's been told she is. His hand, large and warm, reaches out slowly, hesitating as though unsure if she'll pull away. She doesn't. She stays still, watching him, waiting for him to make the first move. His fingers brush against hers, tentative at first, and the simple touch sends a spark of something deep inside her. A flicker of hope, a whisper of connection. "You're not alone anymore," he repeats, this time more firmly, like a promise. He doesn't take his hand away, doesn't pull back. His fingers wrap around hers gently, but with enough strength to hold her there, anchored in the moment. The flames of the fire cast flickering shadows across his face, and for a second, Amara can't breathe. The weight of everything hangs between them. The prophecy, her power, their uncertain future. The moment stretches, the tension between them thickening. Her pulse races in her ears and she can't seem to control it. Every part of her wants to pull away, to run again, but something in his gaze holds her there, rooted to the spot. It's like he's anchoring her, not just physically, but emotionally. The air shifts, heavy with unspoken words, and Amara feels something stir deep inside her, something that she's kept buried for so long. The flame within her simmers, warm, but not threatening. It's different now, not wild and uncontrollable, but tamed by the connection between them. Ronan leans in closer, his face inches from hers. She can feel the heat radiating off him, the warmth of the fire reflected in the intensity of his gaze. The space between them narrows, and for a brief, fleeting moment, Amara wonders if they'll kiss. Wondered if she'll let him in? Truly, let him in. But the moment is broken, torn away by her own uncertainty, by the walls she spent so long building. She pulls back slightly, her breath quickening, her hand slipping from his. The fire crackles between them, loud in the silence that follows. "I can't," she whispers, her voice barely audible. "I can't trust anyone. I can't trust myself." Ronan's hand hovers in the space where hers had been, and for a second, Amara swears she sees a flicker of something dark in his eyes. It's a flash of pain, but it's gone as quickly as it came. "I know," he says, his voice softer now. "I know what it's like to feel lost, Amara. To feel like you can't trust anyone, like everyone you care about will leave you. But I'm not them. And I'm not going anywhere." The sincerity in his words settles over her like a blanket, warm and comforting. She wants to believe him. She wants to trust him. She needs to, but the fear is still there, lurking just beneath the surface. The fire crackles between them, the flames dancing higher, casting long shadows across the clearing. They sit in the quiet, neither speaking, but neither moving away. The air between them is thick with everything they haven't said, everything that's still hanging between them, unresolved. But in that silence, something shifts. For the first time in a long time, Amara feels the weight on her shoulders lighten. She doesn't know if she can fully trust him. Not yet. But she knows one thing for sure. She's not alone anymore. And that thought, for now, is enough. Amara's journey is just beginning. But will she trust Ronan? Will she let him in? Or will her fears tear them apart? The night feels different when Amara wakes. The world heavier somehow. More oppressive. She's not sure how long she's been asleep, but when she opens her eyes, the air is thick with tension, a cold weight pressing against her chest. The fire from the night before has died down to embers, and the warmth that had felt so comforting now feels like a memory, distant, fading. The world has shifted, and she can feel it, deep in her bones. The calm she'd found with Ronan is slipping through her fingers like sand, and she can't seem to grasp it. She doesn't know what's happened, but she can feel it. Something is wrong. A sudden knock on the door of the small cabin they've taken refuge in breaks the silence. The sound is sharp, urgent. Amara sits up, her heart pounding in her chest, the familiar flicker of fear igniting deep within her. Ronan is already standing, his frame blocking the door, his posture tense. She can see the storm gathering in his eyes. "What's going on?" she whispers, but he doesn't answer. His gaze is distant, focused. The door swings open, and in steps a figure that makes her blood run cold. It's Luca, one of Ronan's trusted pack members, a man she's never fully trusted. His eyes are hard, his jaw clenched tight. Behind him, a few others from the pack stand in the shadows, their expressions unreadable. Ronan doesn't move, his hands tense at his sides, but there's a crack in his mask now, a flicker of doubt in the way he looks at Luca. "It's time, Ronan." Luca's voice is grim, the words heavy with something Amara can't place. "The council demands you choose. Choose her, and you betray the pack. Choose us, and you lose her." The words hit Amara like a slap. She feels the weight of them, sinking into her chest, dragging her down with a force she can't escape. Choose her. It's like a sentence. Like a decision she's been living with since the moment she stepped into this world. She knows deep down that this day was inevitable, but hearing it out loud, seeing the grim determination in Luca's eyes, makes it real in a way she never wanted it to be. She stands up slowly, her legs shaking with the sudden surge of panic that floods her body. She opens her mouth to speak, but no words come. The air around her crackles with tension, thick with the weight of their gaze. "Ronan." Her voice is hoarse, but she forces it out. "What is this? What are they saying?" Ronan's gaze flickers to her, and for a split second, the world around them feels like it disappears. It's just the two of them. The firelight, the tension, the weight of the world pressing down on them. And then, he speaks. "The council has condemned you," Ronan says, his voice tight, as if the words are being dragged out of him. "They say you're a danger to the pack. Your power, your flame. It's too unpredictable, too dangerous." Amara's heart stops. Her breath hitches in her throat, and for a moment, the world feels like it's crashing in on her. The ground beneath her feet seems to tilt, the room spinning in slow motion. She hears the words, but they don't seem real. Too dangerous. It's not the first time she's heard those words, but to hear them from Ronan, it feels like the final blow, the one she never saw coming. She steps back, stumbling slightly, her heart breaking with every word. Too dangerous. She's never felt this exposed, this raw. Her power, the flame inside her that she's fought so hard to control, is now the very thing that's tearing her apart. Luca's voice breaks through her thoughts again, colder now, sharper. "She's a threat to us all, Ronan." His words are like daggers, piercing the fragile hope she'd built. "Her power will destroy the pack. We can't afford to let her stay. If you choose her, you risk everything." Amara looks to Ronan, her chest tight with the weight of his decision. What will he do? She wants to believe he'll choose her, that he'll fight for her like he promised. But the doubt is there, gnawing at the edges of her mind, making her question everything she thought she knew about their bond. Can she trust him? Can she trust herself? Ronan doesn't move at first. His eyes flicker between Amara and Luca, between the life he's built and the woman who's come to mean everything to him. The tension is unbearable. Amara can see the pain in his eyes, the conflict twisting in his chest, the duty he carries as alpha, the responsibility of leading the pack. It weighs on him like 1,000 pounds, but his gaze never leaves her. Then, With a voice that is thick with the weight of his decision, Ronan finally speaks. "She's not a weapon," he says, his voice filled with raw intensity. "She's my mate, and I won't stand by while you tear her apart." Amara feels her breath catch in her throat, the words filling her chest with a strange, unexpected warmth. But even as she feels that, a cold wave of doubt crashes over her. She knows the price of his choice. She's always known. If he chooses her, he loses everything: his pack, his power, his future. And for the first time, Amara realizes the full weight of it all. She's not just a burden to him. She's everything. But the room shifts again. Amara sees the council, their faces hard and unforgiving, and she hears the next words before they even leave their mouths. "Then you'll be the one to destroy us, Ronan." It's Luca again, his words like venom, twisted and cold. "Your choice will bring ruin to all of us. You'll have to choose, her or us." And just like that, it's out in the open. The mask drops. The illusion of safety, of trust, it shatters. Amara feels herself drowning in it. She can't breathe. The weight of the words, of the accusations, presses down on her like 1,000 stones. She's not just a threat to herself anymore. She's a threat to Ronan, to everything he's worked for. Tears sting her eyes, but she won't let them fall. Not now. Not when everything she's known is crumbling in front of her. She's not his sacrifice. She's not anyone's sacrifice. "I'm not your sacrifice," she says, her voice breaking through the suffocating silence. "I won't be the reason you lose everything." Her words hit like a dagger. They cut through the tension, through the doubt. And as she turns, as she begins to walk away, something inside her snaps. The flame within her bursts to life again. The silver fire roars up from deep within her, fierce and untamed, reacting to the intensity of the moment, to the betrayal that has cut deeper than she can stand. With a single movement, Amara holds out her hand, and the flame surges from her fingertips, a violent burst of light and heat that knocks everyone back. The air crackles with the power of it, a display of raw strength that even she can't control. The fire crackles around her, wild and free, a dangerous spark of the silver flame that has always defined her. And for just a moment, she's not the broken, betrayed woman in the clearing. She's the force of nature they've all feared. She's the power they can't control. But as the flame flickers and dies down, she's already running, her heart in her throat. She doesn't look back, not even when Ronan calls her name, his voice desperate, filled with pain. She doesn't stop. Not this time. Amara's heart pounds, echoing in her ears, each beat fueling the fire within her. Her legs move as if they are driven by something older than thought, something primal. She feels it, the power that's been buried deep inside her for so long, the power that was meant to destroy, to ruin. But now it feels like salvation, it feels like strength, her strength. The air is thick with the smell of rain and earth, but there's something else too, something sharper, something electric that charges the space around her. She's no longer running from the flames, she's walking straight toward them. With every step, the ground beneath her feet hums with energy, the earth responding to her presence as though it knows, she knows, what's coming. Amara stops in the clearing, her breath coming in quick, jagged bursts, but her eyes are steady. She's not afraid anymore. She's not the woman who fled in the darkness, hiding from herself. She's not the girl who ran from her own power, terrified of what she might become. No, she is something else. Something more. The silver flame that has always burned deep inside her pulses, now a living, breathing entity that rises up with a life of its own. She can feel it twisting through her veins, hot and bright, wrapping around her heart like a beacon, like a force that's calling to her. This power, her power, it wasn't a curse. It wasn't something to be ashamed of. It was part of her. She was it. And now, standing here in the middle of the forest with the world around her watching, Amara makes the choice to embrace it. The ground trembles beneath her, the earth quaking as though responding to the fire within her. The trees around the clearing sway violently, their branches creaking and groaning under the weight of her transformation. The sky above darkens, and a rumble of thunder splits the air, but Amara doesn't flinch. She stands tall, her body humming with the raw energy coursing through her. And then, it happens. The flame bursts from her, a brilliant, blinding light that fills the air, casting everything in a stark, fiery glow. It bursts from her fingertips, from the depths of her soul, rippling through the air like a living thing. It spirals upward, stretching high into the sky, the fire's heat radiating outward, scorching everything in its path. Amara feels the power surge through her, and in that moment she becomes the flame. She is the flame. The fire spirals higher, brighter, the flames twisting like serpents around her, crackling and popping as they dance in the air. It's not just a force, it's a presence, something ancient and alive that thrums in her chest, in her soul, and it's more than she could have ever imagined. Her ancestors' voices call to her now, their words echoing in her mind, rising from the depths of her memories like whispers on the wind. She hears them, faint but unmistakable, calling her name, urging her forward. Embrace your power. This is your birthright. This is who you were always meant to be. Amara's eyes close for a moment, and as the voices of her ancestors flood her consciousness, she feels their strength, their wisdom, and their love. She feels everything, the weight of her lineage, the history that runs through her veins, the flame that's always been there, waiting for her to claim it. When she opens her eyes again, the world is different. The fire still burns bright, but now it's no longer something she's afraid of. It's something she controls. She stands in the center of it, a beacon of light in the darkness, a force to be reckoned with. Ronan watches her from the edge of the clearing, his body tense with awe, his eyes wide as he takes in the transformation unfolding before him. He's seen the fire before, but never like this. Never with this much power, this much intensity. His gaze flickers to her, and she sees the mixture of disbelief and wonder in his eyes. But there's something else there too. Something deeper. Pride. His voice is barely a whisper, but Amara hears it, and it stirs something inside her. I knew it. The power pulses around her, crackling in the air, and Amara knows, deep down, that this is only the beginning. This is who she was always meant to be. The child of the flame. The one destined to change everything. The ground beneath her shifts again, and Amara feels the earth respond, her power entwining with it, pushing outward. She can feel the ancient ruins that lay hidden beneath the soil stir to life, the old magic awakening in response to her call. The rival Alpha, who had once threatened everything she loved, steps forward, his face twisted with anger and fear. You think you can control this power? He sneers, his voice dripping with disdain. You're nothing but a weapon, and you'll burn everything down with you. But Amara doesn't flinch. She stands her ground, her body pulsing with energy, the silver flame swirling around her like a living shield. The enemy is no longer a threat. They are nothing compared to what she has become. I am not your sacrifice, she says, her voice steady and powerful, a far cry from the fearful whispers of her past. I will not be the thing that you use to destroy. I am more than that. Her words are like a declaration, a proclamation of everything she's fought for, everything she's become. She isn't the victim anymore. She's the one in control. She isn't the weapon they thought she was. She's the power they couldn't understand. And with that, She raises her hands and the fire responds, roaring higher into the sky, cascading outward in a blinding flash. The rival Alpha and his pack stagger back, their eyes wide with terror, as the earth trembles beneath them. They can't fight this. They never could. Amara steps forward, her feet grounded in the earth, her body surrounded by the searing light of the flame. She can feel it, the pull of her destiny, the weight of the prophecy, and the strength of her ancestors. She's no longer the girl they exiled. She's the force of nature they never saw coming. She's the one who will change everything. And as she faces the enemy, she knows one thing for certain. This is her fight now. And she will not back down. She's not your sacrifice. She's more. Will Amara embrace her full power, or will the world she's fought so hard to protect turn against her? Subscribe to Kismet Publishing Collection and follow Amara's journey to greatness. The flames still rage around Amara, licking the sky with their heat, the air thick with the raw power she's unleashed. The battle is no longer just a physical clash. It's a fight for the very soul of the pack, for the very future of everything they've known. The enemy falls back, but their eyes never leave her. Their fear palpable. Their distrust heavier than the weight of the earth beneath their feet. Amara stands at the center of it all. No longer the terrified woman who had run from her own power, but the fierce force of nature she was always destined to be. The silver flame, her flame, pulses around her like a living entity. It roars and crackles, pushing back the shadows, lighting up the night in a way that's both beautiful and terrifying. Ronan watches her from the edge of the chaos, his gaze never leaving her. There's a moment, just a heartbeat, where everything pauses. The battle slows. The air grows still. Amara feels it too. The world is holding its breath, as if waiting for her to make the choice that will define everything. This is her moment. The weight of the prophecy presses down on her, suffocating, almost unbearable. But this time, it's not fear she feels, it's clarity. She knows who she is now. She knows what she's capable of. And this moment, is hers to control. But Ronan, she feels the conflict in him, the pull between his loyalty to her and his duty as Alpha. She knows deep down that this decision will break him one way or another. If he stands with her, he loses everything. His pack, his position, his future. All of it will crumble. But if he turns his back on her, she loses him, and she's not sure if she can survive that. The voices of the council echo in her mind, their words heavy and biting. Her power will destroy us all. But Ronan's words, his declaration that she's his mate, echo louder. His voice, full of conviction, had promised her something more. Something beyond the flames, beyond the fear. But now, in the heat of battle, that promise is slipping through his fingers, slipping through hers. The flames that should unite them are instead separating them, creating an insurmountable divide. The battlefield rages on, but for Amara, it's all fading into the background. It's not about the fight anymore. It's about them. About him. About whether or not they can survive this. Whether they can survive each other. Her breath catches, the weight of the decision heavy on her chest. She glances at Ronan, his face hard with determination, but she sees it. The flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. He's caught in the middle, torn between two worlds. And Amara. Amara feels the pull of that same choice. Should she stand with him, let him make this decision, let him carry the weight of her power, or should she let him go, save him from the fire that's slowly consuming everything around them? Would you have chosen her? Would you have stood by her side, even knowing the danger she carries? Knowing that her very existence could tear everything apart? Knowing that her love, her power, could burn everything she touches? But there's more to her than just power. There's more to her than the flame that threatens to consume them all. There's love. There's hope. There's something pure in her, something that calls to Ronan and to anyone who dares to see past the flame. Amara takes a step forward, her voice barely a whisper, but in the silence of the moment, it rings out like a drumbeat. I'm not your sacrifice. Her voice trembles with the weight of everything she's felt, everything she's been through. She's not a weapon. She's not just the girl they exiled. She's Amara, the woman who will decide her fate, who will decide her future, no matter the cost. Ronan's gaze softens, his eyes filled with something she can't quite place, something that hurts to see, a mixture of love, fear, and regret. He wants to believe in her. He wants to stand by her. But he's afraid. Afraid of the destruction she might bring. I've chosen you, Ronan says, his voice low, filled with the weight of a decision he's already made. He steps closer to her, his hand reaching out as though trying to close the gap between them, but something holds him back. But I don't know if I can protect you from what's coming, from what you might become. Amara feels the sting of his words, the truth of them slicing into her heart. She knows he's afraid. She's been afraid too. But fear doesn't define her anymore. She defines her. In that instant, everything shifts. The battle around them fades into nothingness. The enemy, the pack, the future. None of it matters. Not in this moment. All that matters is the choice Amara is about to make. I am not your sacrifice, she repeats, her voice firmer now, more resolute. I won't be the thing that destroys everything. I'll fight for you. I'll fight for us. The words hang in the air, thick with the weight of what they mean. Amara stands tall now, the flames around her brighter than ever, her power coursing through her with a newfound strength. It's no longer just a weapon. It's hers. And no one will take it from her. The rival Alpha steps forward, his gaze filled with disdain. She'll burn everything, he growls, his voice filled with venom. She's a monster. But Amara doesn't flinch. She stands firm, the flames dancing around her, her eyes locked on Ronan's. She's no monster. She's a force of nature. A force he will not be able to control or contain, no matter how much he tries. I'm not a monster, she says softly, her voice filled with both pain and power. I'm the one who will change everything. If you stand with me, we can rise from the ashes. If you stand against me, you will fall. The words hang in the air between them, the challenge undeniable, the promise of what's to come burning bright in her eyes. The enemy hesitates, the rival Alpha's gaze flickering between Ronan and Amara. But there's no more room for doubt. This battle isn't just for survival, it's for the future. Amara's gaze flickers to Ronan one last time. She sees the conflict in his eyes, the struggle to choose between her and his pack, his duty and his heart. But she knows now. She doesn't need him to make the decision for her. She's not his sacrifice. She's his equal. And with that, she steps forward, her body crackling with energy, ready for whatever comes next. This isn't over. The fire that had once burned so brightly between Amara and Ronan now fades into the background, a dim, flickering memory against the vastness of what they've just endured. The ground beneath them is still cracked from the battle, the remnants of the flames still lingering in the air like the ghost of a storm that has yet to pass. The air is heavy, thick with unsaid words, unresolved conflicts. It's a fragile peace, a momentary lull before the storm, and both of them can feel it. The weight of what has just happened hangs between them like an unspoken promise, and the uncertainty of the future wraps around them like a cloak they cannot escape. Amara walks beside him, but there's an invisible distance between them, an expanse of space where trust is still being tested, where hearts are still guarded. She can feel the pull of his presence beside her, his steady footsteps matching hers. But she wonders, for the briefest moment, if this is truly the beginning of something new. She wonders if they will be able to overcome the forces that are still lurking in the shadows. She tries to steady herself. This isn't over. Not by a long shot. She senses Ronan's gaze on her, the weight of his eyes burning against her skin. But she doesn't look at him. Not yet. Not when the questions are still gnawing at her soul. Not when the uncertainty still curls in the pit of her stomach. Can they make it through this? Can they weather what's to come, the trials that lie ahead, the enemies that are still out there? There are too many unknowns, too many threats that still lurk beyond the horizon. The battle is over, for now. But the war? The war is far from finished. The path ahead is unclear. Every step they take feels like a leap into the unknown, into a future neither of them can predict. And for the first time, Amara realizes that the fight she thought she had won was never truly hers to claim. The silver flame that burns within her. It's not just about her anymore. It's about everyone, about everything. The world is changing. She feels the weight of it now, the burden of the flame inside her. A power that has always been meant for something greater. But what that something is, she still doesn't know. Ronan's voice breaks through her thoughts, low and steady, as they walk side by side in silence. "This isn't over," he says, his words so soft, so quiet, they could easily be lost in the wind. But Amara hears them. She feels them. His voice, like a thread, tugs at the edge of her heart, pulling her back to him, to the reality of their situation. His words hang in the air, heavy with meaning, like a warning that neither of them can ignore. She doesn't need to ask him what he means. She knows. They both know. The fight is far from finished. There is something more coming. Something darker. Something more powerful that's already gathering in the shadows. She can feel it in her bones. A whispering threat that's creeping ever closer. "I know," she replies, her voice barely above a whisper. But it carries the weight of everything she's learned in the last few hours. The weight of her power. The weight of Ronan's choices. The weight of her own heart. They keep walking, their steps in perfect sync, but there's a sense of inevitability in the air now. The road ahead is steep. It's dark. But it's theirs to walk together. And for the first time, Amara feels a flicker of hope. It's small, fragile, but it's there. She's not sure where it will lead, but she knows one thing. She's not walking alone. They reach the edge of the forest, the trees parting to reveal the horizon stretching before them, endless and wide. The storm clouds have parted and the sky above is streaked with orange and gold, the first light of dawn breaking over the earth. But even as the dawn rises, there's a shadow hanging over them, a shadow that neither of them can outrun. "You're not the only one," Ronan says, his voice quiet but filled with an ominous certainty. Amara's heart stutters in her chest. She doesn't need to ask him what he means. She knows. There's more to this story than what they've seen so far. There's more power in the world than what she's felt within herself. And the flame, her silver flame, it's just the beginning. The true alpha hasn't risen yet. The words echo in her mind like a bell tolling in the distance. The true alpha, the one who will come to challenge everything, the one who will either bring salvation or destruction. It's a threat, a prophecy, and she can't escape it. Not anymore. The battle she fought for Ronan, this isn't the end of their story. It's only the beginning. She glances at him, her gaze meeting his for the briefest of moments, and she sees it. The flicker of doubt. The uncertainty in his eyes. He's been carrying the weight of his pack, of his title for so long, And now, as they stand on the precipice of something new, something unknown, Amara realizes that he's just as lost as she is. They're both standing on the edge and neither of them knows where it leads. But they'll find out together, because she's not alone anymore. Ronan stops walking, his hand brushing against hers, his touch a quiet comfort in the silence between them. He doesn't say anything at first. He doesn't need to. The air between them is charged, filled with all the things they haven't said, all the emotions they've yet to confront. "I won't leave you," he says at last, his voice steady, a promise in the weight of his words. "No matter what happens, I'll be by your side. We'll face this together, all of it." Amara's heart skips a beat. She looks up at him, her eyes searching his for any sign of doubt, but all she finds is unwavering determination. For the first time, she believes him. For the first time, she doesn't feel like she's carrying the weight of the world alone. The silence between them stretches, filled with unspoken truths. But Amara knows that this is only the beginning. The flame that burns within her. The power she's still learning to control. It's not just her fight. It's theirs. Together. "Let's see where this path leads," Amara whispers, her voice barely audible, but her heart is strong. Together. And as the first light of dawn breaks over the horizon, they step forward. Into the unknown. Into the fight that still awaits them. The road is uncertain, and the future is unclear. But Amara knows one thing. She's not walking it alone. The world is changing, and so is she. She's not your sacrifice. She's more. But will Amara and Ronan be able to face what's coming next? Will they survive the storm that's just beginning? Subscribe to Kismet Publishing Collection to follow their journey and let us know where you're watching from. This story is far from over, and you won't want to miss what comes next.